Hey everyone, Sav Drives back here with another video, and today I will be talking about the 2008 Toyota Sequoia and how it holds up in 2024. Is this car still relevant? Is it a good buy? Let's dive in. There's a lot of cool things you get with this car right out the box. I think it's a great car overall, and I want to talk about a lot of the cool things you get with it. So starting off here, I'm going to be talking a little about the interior. So the interior in this car is extremely spacious. As you can see, I'm a very tall guy, and it still takes me some effort to reach these controls. Very big knobs, very big controls on this car. This is an aftermarket display, which is an upgrade to this car. This car came with a standard radio, which did not really have the screen. This is also the two-wheel drive model. I'm getting about 16.8 mpgs on this car combined. On the highway it gets closer to 18 miles per gallon. So really cool interior overall. It's just so comfortable and you feel like you have a lot of space. There's also a ton of cup holders in this car. You can see right here there's 3. To my left here there's 2, over there's another 2. You already have a ton of cup holders up here. I believe this car has something like 12 cup holders. Also, if we take a quick look up here, you can see that you have a mirror here to talk to anyone and behind you, but you also have a sunglass holder here and another sunglass holder here, which is quite interesting. So there's a ton of storage here. You have the standard glove box storage, but you also have this door here that opens for additional storage. In this car, there's even storage in the doors that opens here, which is pretty awesome. So let me talk a little more about the engine, and let me show you what we have here. So I think of these cars as they're very sleeper cars, right? In a sense that the engine is actually 380 horsepower with 400 foot-pounds of torque, so it's actually a very powerful engine right out the box, and this car does 0 to 60 in about 6.5 seconds. These are some really cool aftermarket headlights on this car that kind of update the look of the front fascia here. And let me talk a little about the design here. So this car came out a while back. I think it's aged really well. They've actually ran this design all the way through 2020. So the recent Sequoia changed. It's a complete change from this one, but still I think this car has aged very well overall. So something that's awesome that you get with this car is it has no shortage of storage, right? So in here you have a ton of space. You have your 3-row seats here. You have rear seats back there, and those seats actually do recline on this car, which gives you a ton of space. Even these seats fold, so if you hit the latch here, these actually fold all the way down flat. The headrest is hitting here, but if I push it, it will fold flat. I just need to push this headrest down, but anyways, these seats do fold flat, including the 3-row seats here. So let me open up the trunk, and as you can see here, this is the rear part of the car, and if I lower these, they do actually recline, and if you wanted to, I can use this lever here even. They can fold completely flat, which is pretty awesome. You also have an additional power source here. That's a 120 watt power source, and just really cool features overall. On the Platinum model, these rear seats actually fold electrically, so you don't do it manually. So this car has very nice aggressive lining going down the side. It's a very, very big car overall. This is one large vehicle, but it's really an awesome car. So another thing about this engine is it's a very, very smooth engine. I'm gonna lower down the window here and we'll listen to a quick engine note. here's a rev. So it revs way over 3,000. It's you know, not the best sounding engine because it's very muffled, but it is very, very smooth. When you're driving, it's just a butter smooth engine to drive in. Okay, so let's take this car here for a quick drive, and yeah, let me talk a little about this as we're moving along here. So one thing I really do love about these Sequoias, this is actually the second one I've owned, is they are very, very smooth cars. You feel like you're gliding over every bump on the road. It's just super light, super enjoyable to drive. But also when you really want to give it some gas and get going, it really does move along and goes up to speed pretty quickly, right? So that's the amazing thing about it. Another thing is the comfort overall is pretty excellent in this car. You have a ton of space. The seats are very, very comfortable. The AC is always ice cold. It's excellent. And in the rear part of this car, you even have AC vents that are in the ceiling that keep the rear passengers cool from up top, and you know, that's a pretty nice thing to have in this car. The main downsides that I would say about this car is the fuel economy, but it's really not all that bad. I mean, I'm getting 16.7, 16.8 combined, and for a car of this size, right, that's really not all that horrible. It's not great, but keep in mind this is a massive car. And you know, a lot of people, for example, used to mention that the Gen 1 Raptor is a, you know, very fast car. And yes, it is fast, but this car compared to it is really not all that different, right? Because this car does 0 to 60 in 6.5 seconds, so it's still a very fast car, but you don't hear too many people talk about it. There's a lot of hype around the LC series Land Cruiser, right? And they hold a lot more value. And they have, you know, the 5.7 liter V8, which is in this car. But for some reason, this car just does not get the same level of hype. Now, I don't believe this car is a better off-roader compared to the Land Cruiser LC series. But, I mean, if you're buying this car as a daily driver, as a practical car, I mean, it's more practical, in my opinion, than the Land Cruiser. It's very reliable. I've had 2 of these cars and never, literally almost never, had an issue with them. The only issue I had ever faced was the secondary air pump going out on the previous Sequoia I had, but even that was a very simple and cheap thing to fix. But they are very, very reliable cars. Now keep in mind, if you're going for the 4.7 liter V8, some people say that that car is more reliable than the 5.7 V8 you get in this car. But it does come with some disadvantages, right? One thing to consider is the 4.7 liter V8 requires the timing belt to be changed out. In this car, there's a timing chain. You don't need to carry out that service. Now keep in mind, on the 4.7 liter one, you know, you carry out that service every like 100,000 miles or something, right? So it's nothing really it's not really something, you know, you have to worry about too much. But yeah, just something to call out. The 5.7 though is much more powerful. It's a very strong car. I've towed a Corvette in this car for I believe around 12 hours that I was buying from out of state, and even though it has 2-wheel drive, it did excellently. It towed the car completely fine. It felt like the engine wasn't under any strain or stress. You know, it was doing this with ease, and these cars have a pretty high tow capacity too, so they're just great cars to have. I mean, if you go out and take a look at the market for these Sequoias, you'll find a ton of good deals out there. I mean, if you look hard enough, there is a ton of good deals on these cars, and they are phenomenal cars to own. I really don't think there are many cars out there that are like this, that simply have, you know, the same level of quality or reliability that you get with a Toyota, and you know, the comfort, the suspension. I mean, a lot of things are really great about this car. Sure, the interior may look a little, you know, boring or bland, but I mean, it's very practical. It's built in a way that's simple to use. Nothing breaks. I mean, if you look around, this car's from '08 and look at how the interior is holding up. I mean, nothing is melting, nothing is cracked. I mean, almost nothing is creaking on this car, and that's very interesting, you know, to say. Like, I can't even say that for a lot of much more expensive cars, right? Things start creaking, things start breaking, but everything here, like you can see if I push on it, it's quite solid. I mean, there's some flex, right? But it's still quite solid. Nothing has broken on this car or anything like that from age. And this is just a testament to how well Toyota builds their cars. They really take the reliability and longevity of the vehicle very, very seriously. So props to Toyota on building this amazing machine. So driving on the highway, I just want to talk a little about how this car feels overall. It's very comfortable. There's a bit again of there's a bit of wind noise that you can hear, and that's probably because these side mirrors on this car are just so large that they have some wind noise. But overall, the cabin is quite isolated. It's quite quiet. Something that's very surprising about the Sequoia, and it really, you know, surprised me when I drove my first one, is they have the steering calibrated in a way, I believe this is electric steering. It is super light. It is ridiculously light. Like, when you drive this car, it actually feels like you're driving a tiny car. And that's actually maybe one of my downsides for this car, is it may be very easy to accidentally turn too hard in this car, and it has a ton of body roll because it is a really big vehicle, right? So you may accidentally take a turn too quickly just because of how light the steering is, right? I mean, you can really like steer this with your pinky, if I can show you here, right? But on the plus side, at lower speeds, when you're doing things like taking U-turns, right, or you want to maneuver between tight spots, it's so easy in this car. And that's something I love about it. Like, don't let this car's big size intimidate you. It has excellent visibility. You know, I can see everyone. I can see the car next to me. I can see all around me because of the big mirrors. You know, its visibility is excellent, and again, you have that ultra smooth steering when you're driving, so it's not intimidating at all to drive this car. You just kind of sit, relax, you know, and go with the flow. There isn't much involvement. The pedals feel nice on the car, the steering feels great, and yeah, I mean, depending on how you see this, one thing I like that concerns me about this car is on long road trips, it's so comfortable that it can make you get sleepy. It's just like it's interesting that is a sort of complaint, but it kind of feels like you're sitting on your couch at home. You know, you're just sitting with so much space around you, comfortable, quiet. You can barely hear this engine, right? So it's pretty awesome in that sense. It's a great road trip car, great family car, great for hauling things. You know, you have a ton of storage capacity in the back, and overall just a great car. 0 to 60 test. And that's 60. So overall, I think the 2008 Sequoia is definitely still relevant in 2024. It's a great car to have. It's super fast, super reliable, just a great overall car. And yeah, I mean, I would highly recommend it if you can get a good deal on it. If you have one with all the service records, you know, just an overall great car. definitely go for it. This is a great car to have and a great car to own.